The war had burned the planet for 7 long years. The sky was never blue anymore. It was dark, filled with smoke and the echo of broken ships. The land was not land anymore. It was ash, metal, and the bones of both humans and aliens who had fought here. Captain Reed walked through the ruins, his heavy armor covered in dust and dried blood. His oxygen meter blinked weakly. Every step he took sounded like a hammer on an empty shell. Around him, nothing moved. The battle was over. Everyone was gone. He was the last one still breathing. He looked at the fallen machines half buried in the ground. The alien weapons still glowed faintly, as if the ghosts of their owners refused to leave. Reed had fought for so long that he couldn't remember what peace even felt like. He only knew how to survive. His helmet radio made a faint crackle, a broken voice trying to reach him. "Command." "Do you copy?" "Human unit, respond." Reed lifted his hand, but the signal was gone. Silence filled his ears again. He slowly sat down beside a broken alien warship. The metal was still warm. It had been destroyed only a few hours ago. He stared at his reflection on its smooth black surface, tired eyes half hidden by dirt and scars. For the first time in months, Reed felt something strange. Quiet, no gunfire, no orders, no screams, only the sound of the wind brushing across the empty battlefield. He looked up at the alien moon, 2 pale circles floating in the dark sky, and whispered, "It's over." "Isn't it?" But even as he said it, he didn't believe it. Wars like this didn't end. They only paused. He reached up and unlocked his armor. The sound was soft, like air escaping a bottle. He took off the helmet first. The cold air hit his face. It smelled of burned metal and dust, but to him it was almost fresh. He took off the chest plate next. The armor dropped to the ground with a dull thud. The aliens always believed humans were weak without their machines, without their metal shells. They thought humans were fragile creatures, soft, emotional, easily broken. But they never understood what was inside that soft flesh. Reed closed his eyes and leaned back against the ship wall. His body ached everywhere. Every breath felt like fire. Still he smiled. He was alive. For now, that was enough. He whispered softly, "Ilara." "I made it," no one answered. Only the wind replied, carrying a faint, sad sound across the ruins. Above him, hidden in the shadows, alien drones were still watching. They floated silently, recording everything. The alien command had ordered, "Observe any remaining humans. Do not interfere." Through the drone's cameras, the aliens watched in disbelief. The human had removed his armor. He was completely unprotected. No shield, no gun, no defense. Yet he looked calm, almost peaceful. One alien officer whispered to his commander, "He's insane. The radiation alone will kill him." The commander didn't respond. He just kept watching the screen, his 4 dark eyes narrowing. "No," he said finally, "look closer. Something is strange." Down below, the dust around Reed began to move, tiny particles rising gently like the air was alive. He didn't notice. He was too tired. His mind was drifting between sleep and memory. He saw flashes in his head, his old squad, their laughter before battle, their promises to go home. Then he saw the last image of Ilara, his wife, standing by the shuttle before he left Earth. Her last words echoed in his mind. "Don't lose the part of you that feels. Reed, that's what makes you human." He smiled weakly. "Guess I failed that part, huh?" he whispered. But far above him, the drones captured something the human couldn't see, a faint glow forming beside his body. It wasn't fire. It wasn't light from the ship. It looked like a small floating sphere of energy, pulsing softly with each beat of Reed's heart. The alien commander leaned forward. "Magnify that now." The screen zoomed in. The light flickered once, twice, and then steadied. The commander's voice was tense. "That energy signature. I've seen it before. But it's impossible. It can't exist anymore." "Sir, should we capture it?" asked one of the soldiers. The commander shook his head. "No, let it be. If we move now, we might lose it. Observe the human. Let's see what happens when he wakes." Reed shifted in his sleep. The soft glow brightened for a moment, almost like it was protecting him. His breathing slowed, steady and calm. The aliens continued to watch in silence. The battlefield was asleep, but something ancient had awakened beside a tired, unarmored human. And when morning came, none of them would be ready for what they would find. The first light of dawn touched the battlefield. Smoke still drifted in the air like fading ghosts. Nothing moved, not a machine, not a creature. But beside the sleeping human, something was quietly alive. A soft golden glow shimmered near Captain Reed's chest. It floated just a few inches above his heart, pulsing gently as if it could feel his heartbeat. Every time he breathed in, the light grew brighter. Every time he breathed out, it softened again. The alien drones caught everything. Their sensors beeped with warning tones. One of the machines zoomed closer, scanning the strange light. It sent the readings back to the alien mothership orbiting above. Inside the ship, the alien command center came alive. Technicians rushed to their stations, their blue hands tapping glowing panels. The commander, General Vareth, leaned forward with all four eyes fixed on the screen. "What is that energy?" he demanded. One scientist stammered, It's unlike anything we've seen. The pattern? It matches the ancient relic energy, from before the fall." The room went silent. Even the machines seemed to hesitate. General Vareth hissed softly. "Impossible. Those relics were destroyed 1,000 cycles ago." But the data didn't lie. The sphere beside the human pulsed again, slow, steady, alive. Down on the ground, Captain Reed slept deeply. His face was calm, his breathing even. He had no idea that the universe was watching him. The alien patrol was ordered to approach quietly. 4 soldiers landed near the ruins, moving carefully through the smoke. Their armor shimmered in the rising light. They stopped 20 meters away, staring at the strange glow that hovered above the human's chest. One of them whispered, "He's still alive?" Another replied, "Yes, and that thing is alive too." The youngest of them, Laura, a female scientist soldier, couldn't look away. Her hands trembled. "It's calling to him," she said softly. The others frowned. "Don't talk nonsense. It's just radiation." But Laura shook her head. "No, I can feel it." The commander's voice came through their earpieces. "Do not engage. Record everything. Maintain distance." Laura hesitated. "But sir, the energy levels are rising. It could be dangerous." "Then fall back," the commander ordered. No heroics. They obeyed, except Laura. Something deep inside her refused to leave. The light was beautiful. It wasn't cold like alien energy. It was warm, almost like it was alive, like it had a heartbeat. She stepped closer, ignoring the warnings flashing on her screen. As she approached, the air began to hum. Dust lifted from the ground. The closer she got, the stronger the sound became, like 1,000 tiny voices whispering in harmony. Her eyes widened. She could almost hear words forming in the hum, words that weren't alien, words that weren't hers. She stopped only a few steps away from the sleeping human. Reed's face looked peaceful, but his expression twitched slightly as if he was dreaming. The golden light above his heart pulsed faster now, responding to Laura's presence. Her gloved hand shook as she reached out. "What are you?" she whispered. The light flickered, once, twice, then gently floated toward her fingers. And the moment she touched it, everything changed. The battlefield disappeared. Laura found herself standing in a strange vision, surrounded by green trees, blue skies, and laughter. She saw children running, waves crashing on bright sand, and a woman with dark hair smiling beside a man who looked exactly like the sleeping human. Tears filled her eyes. She could feel the warmth, the love, the peace. No war, no death, no medal, just life. She gasped and stumbled back. The vision broke like glass. She was back on the battlefield, trembling, her breath coming fast. Her teammates shouted in her ear. "Laura, what happened? Talk to us." She looked at them, shaking. It showed me something. His memories. His world. What do you mean?" "He dreams of home," she whispered. "He dreams of love. That's what powers it." The commander's voice roared through the channel. "Nonsense. Fall back immediately. That thing could infect you." But Laura wasn't listening anymore. She stared at the human and whispered softly, "He's not just a soldier. He's a carrier of something ancient, something pure." The others dragged her back to the dropship. As they lifted off, the sphere slowly dimmed and returned to its resting place beside Reed's heart. Back on the mothership, General Vareth watched the readings fall to 0. He turned to his officers. "Prepare a full scan. That human, and whatever that thing is." "They're connected," he paused, his voice low and cold. and I want to know why. Down on the planet, Reed's eyelids fluttered. For a brief moment he murmured something, a name. Ilara. The sphere pulsed once more, soft and protective, like a heartbeat echoing in the ruins, and somewhere above, in the silence of space, the first alien whisper spread across the fleet. The human has awakened something that should never wake again. The alien ship drifted in orbit above the burned planet, its dark metal surface glowing faintly under the dying sun. Inside, silence ruled. Only one voice broke it, the trembling voice of Lura, the scientist who had touched the human's mysterious light. She sat inside a medical chamber, her hands shaking. The moment she had touched the golden sphere, her world had changed. She could still feel warmth under her skin, like sunlight trapped inside her veins. Every time she blinked, she saw flashes, oceans, laughter, the blue sky of Earth. Her commander, General Vareth, stood outside the glass wall, watching her carefully. "She's infected," one of the medics said. "No," Vareth replied quietly. "She's connected." Laura heard them but said nothing. She could hear another sound now, a faint heartbeat echoing in her ears. It wasn't hers. It was his, the human's. Down below, on the planet's surface, Captain Reed still slept under the rising twin moons. The golden sphere floated quietly above his chest, shining softly like a guardian. The wind carried whispers through the ruins, but he didn't wake. Then something changed. The ground beneath him began to tremble. From deep under the wreckage, alien scavenger drones crawled up, searching for valuable parts. They had been programmed to collect energy signatures, and the light above Reed's chest called to them like a beacon. They moved closer, their red eyes flashing. Their claws clicked as they circled the sleeping human. In the command center above, the sensors screamed, "Sir, unauthorized drones near the human. They're entering the relic field." General Vareth's eyes widened. "Deactivate them at once." "We can't." "They're not responding." The feed showed the drones closing in on Reed. One extended a long metallic arm, trying to scan the light. The instant its claw touched the edge of the sphere, a burst of white energy exploded outward. Every drone froze. The air rippled like water, and a wave of invisible force swept across the ruins. The drones shattered into dust without a sound. Inside the medical chamber, Lura gasped. Her body jolted as if lightning had passed through her. The monitors around her blinked violently. "Her vitals are spiking," the medic shouted. Lura's voice was soft, trembling, yet clear. "He's awake." But Reed wasn't awake, not fully. His body lay still, but his mind was no longer asleep. Inside his head, he was somewhere else. He stood in a white space filled with light, weightless and warm. Before him stood a woman, her face gentle, her eyes full of peace. "Ilara," he whispered. She smiled sadly. "You kept your promise, Reed. You never took off your armor." "Until now," he frowned. "Am I dead?" "Not yet," she said. "But the light you carry, it's not just yours anymore. It remembers me. It remembers all of us." Reed looked down at his hands. Light flowed through them like golden rivers. "What is it?" he asked. She stepped closer, her form flickering. "It's what humans forgot long ago. The echo of love, courage, and every soul that still believes in something greater. The aliens call it forbidden energy. You call it heart." The light around her began to fade. "They'll come for you, Reed. They fear what they don't understand. But don't fear them. The light will protect you as it once protected me." Reed reached for her, but she was gone. In a flash, he was back, his eyes opening to the cold air and the sound of distant thunder. The light above his chest glowed brighter than ever, humming softly. He sat up slowly, blinking at the ruins around him. The drones were gone, turned to ashes. The air smelled clean for the first time in years. Up in orbit, chaos erupted. "Sir, the human is conscious. The energy reading is off the scale." General Vareth clenched his jaw. "Prepare a strike team. Bring him in alive, and no matter the cost." Lura, still trembling in her chamber, heard the order. "No, don't touch him," she shouted. "You'll trigger it again." Vareth turned toward her. "You don't understand what's at stake, scientist. If he controls that power, he could destroy worlds." Lura looked straight into his cold eyes. "No, General. He could heal them." Her words struck the room like a knife. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Vareth turned away. "Prepare the team." Back on the planet, Reed stood and looked at the sky. He could feel them watching, the same eyes that had hunted his people for years. But for the first time, he didn't feel fear. He whispered softly, "If you're watching, come. Let's see what your fear can do." The golden sphere hovered beside him, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat, alive, aware, and waiting. In the shadows, the alien soldiers descended toward him through the clouds, unaware that what they were walking into wasn't a simple capture. It was the beginning of something the galaxy had long forgotten, something human, something forbidden. The sky above the ruined world boiled with gray clouds. Thunder rolled softly like a sleeping beast. Far below, Captain Reed stood barefoot on the cold ground, his broken armor lying beside him. The golden light that hovered near his chest shimmered like a living sun, silent yet powerful. He felt different, lighter, stronger, but also sad. Every breath reminded him of the people he had lost. The battlefield stretched around him, quiet and endless. For the first time, he wasn't wearing armor, but he didn't feel weak. He felt alive. Reed looked at his reflection in a pool of water. His eyes glowed faintly gold, and the air around him seemed to hum with quiet energy. "Ilara," he whispered. "Was that really you?" The wind answered with a soft echo, brushing through the broken towers like a sigh. He picked up a small piece of his armor and smiled faintly. "Guess I won't be needing this anymore." Up above, in the alien mothership, alarms flashed red. Technicians shouted over each other. Energy reading rising again. "The human has reactivated the relic. Containment field at risk." General Vareth clenched his claws around the command rail. "Send the strike team. Do not destroy him. We need to understand what he's carrying." Lura, still weak from her connection to the light, stumbled forward. "No, don't send them. He's not a threat. He doesn't even understand what's happening." Vareth turned his cold eyes toward her. "You forget, scientist, we've seen what that energy can do. It wiped out the drones in seconds. If it grows stronger, it could erase a city." Lura's voice cracked. "Then maybe you should ask why it didn't erase him." But the general didn't listen. His command echoed through the bridge. "Deploy." Moments later, 6 alien transports cut through the clouds, their engines screaming like angry beasts. Reed looked up and saw the lights descending through the mist. His heartbeat slowed. The sphere above his chest pulsed brighter, responding to the threat. He sighed softly. So it begins again. The ships landed around him in a perfect circle. Alien soldiers, tall and armored in blue steel, surrounded him. Their weapons glowed with white plasma light. Reed didn't move. He just stood there, calm, unarmed, barefoot in the ash. One soldier shouted, "Human, lie down and surrender your relic." Reed tilted his head slightly. "Relic?" he said quietly. "That's what you call it?" They didn't answer. The leader raised his weapon. "Last warning," Reed's gaze softened. "I'm tired of warnings." The soldier fired. The plasma shot never reached him. The golden sphere spun suddenly, forming a shield of light that rippled like water. The blast hit it and vanished. Not a sound, not even smoke. The air was silent again. The aliens froze, confused. One whispered, "That's impossible." Then Reed took a slow step forward. The shield followed him like a living companion. He raised his hand, not to attack, but to touch the air in front of him. The light spread outward, forming symbols in the air, unknown letters glowing softly. The ground under the alien's feet trembled. The leader shouted, "Fall back! Open fire!" Hundreds of shots filled the sky, but every beam bent away from Reed, curving like light bending around glass. The human's relic, or whatever it was protecting him effortlessly. In the mothership, General Vareth's voice filled the command room. "What are you doing, human?" he shouted into the communicator. "Do you know what that power is?" Reed looked up at the nearest drone camera floating above him. "I don't," he said softly. "But maybe you should tell me." Before Vareth could answer, the sphere flared white, sending a wave of light that pushed every alien soldier back. Their weapons powered down automatically, their energy cores dead. Lura gasped as she watched the feed. "He's not killing them," she said. "He's disabling their weapons. He's protecting himself." Vareth slammed his fist down. "That's impossible. No human can control relic energy." But Lura smiled faintly through her tears. "He's not controlling it. It's protecting him on its own. It chose him." On the ground, Reed slowly dropped to his knees. His strength was fading. The light dimmed slightly. He looked at his hands, still glowing faintly gold, and whispered, "You're helping me. But why?" Then from deep inside his mind a voice answered, soft, familiar, full of warmth. Because you never stopped believing. He froze. It was Alara's voice. For a moment he closed his eyes and let the tears fall silently. The aliens didn't dare move. Even though he looked weak, none of them wanted to test the light that had just saved him. Reed lifted his head. Go, he said quietly. Tell your commander the war is over. You don't need to fight me anymore. The soldiers looked at each other, unsure. The leader slowly lowered his weapon, signaling retreat. As they backed away, the golden sphere dimmed once more, floating quietly beside Reed's shoulder. High above, General Vareth stared at the screens, his expression unreadable. A human who refuses to fight, yet carries a weapon that can end worlds. What are you, Captain Reed? Lura whispered under her breath. He's what we've forgotten to be. Down below, Reed looked up at the dark sky. The wind was cold, but he smiled faintly. I'm just human, he whispered. That's all. But somewhere inside the golden light, something ancient stirred, something that wasn't finished yet. The awakening had only begun. The world below was silent again, but not for long. The moment the alien soldiers pulled back, their ships retreated to the clouds, leaving Captain Reed standing in the ashes. The golden sphere hovered near his shoulder, dim yet steady, pulsing like a heartbeat. He looked up. The sky flashed with red streaks, not lightning, but warning beacons. The mothership had launched new crafts, faster and heavier. Reed sighed softly. So they're not done with me yet. He touched the broken piece of his armor lying nearby. The metal cracked, but the communicator still worked. Static buzzed through it. He whispered, Anyone still alive out there? This is Captain Reed of the 7th Unit. Repeat. Any human response? Only silence answered him. Then faintly a soft click. Reed? A weak voice replied. This is Base Echo. Barely online. We thought you were dead. He smiled slightly. Not yet. Evac is impossible, the voice said. They control the skies. Find cover, Captain. We'll try to locate you. The signal vanished. Reed turned toward the horizon. Endless black mountains and the burning remains of cities. Find cover, he repeated quietly. Yeah. Easy for them to say. The sphere pulsed once. A thin trail of golden dust floated ahead of him, like it was pointing the way. Reed frowned but followed. The light seemed to understand the world better than he did now. As he walked through the ruins, he noticed something strange. The land wasn't as dead as before. Small green vines pushed through the cracks in the metal ground. Drops of clean water fell from broken pipes. The air smelled alive. Wherever the sphere passed, life followed, he whispered. You're fixing the planet, aren't you? The sphere hummed gently in reply like a soft yes, but far above on the alien ship, General Vareth wasn't watching the beauty of it. He was watching the danger. That energy is spreading, he growled. It's reawakening the land. If it reaches the atmosphere, it could change everything. Laura stood behind him, still pale. Maybe that's what it's meant to do. Maybe it's healing the world you broke. Vareth turned sharply. You speak as if you want him to win. Laura didn't look away. Maybe I do. Because I touched that light, and for 1 second I saw what peace looks like. And I realized how empty we've become, Vareth hissed. Peace is a story fools tell their children. Prepare the hunter fleet. Bring me that human. Dead or alive. Down below, Reed reached the edge of a crater. Inside it lay an ancient ruin. Alien symbols carved deep into stone. The golden sphere floated down ahead of him, shining brighter. Reed followed carefully. The air vibrated with low humming. As he entered, the walls began to glow, responding to the sphere's light. He felt warmth spreading through him and then memories again. Not his own this time. He saw flashes, alien temples, worlds before war, species united under one symbol, the same golden light. He stumbled, gripping the wall. You've been here before, haven't you? He whispered. Long before humans ever came. The light pulsed again as if confirming it. Before he could say more, his communicator crackled. Captain Reed, this is Echo Base again. They've found you. The aliens are moving in from orbit. You need to run. Reed looked up through the crack in the ceiling. Dozens of small ships were falling toward him like shooting stars. The sound grew louder. Engines, weapons, death approaching. He clenched his fists. Run where? The golden sphere flashed suddenly, covering him in light. The ground trembled. Energy symbols on the floor began to rotate. A circle formed beneath his feet. He didn't understand what was happening, but the sphere did. Then with a blinding flash, the entire ruin erupted in golden light. When the alien ships reached the crater, all they saw was fire and dust. Their scanners picked up no trace of human life. The leader shouted, "We've lost the signal." "The target's gone." On the mothership, General Vareth slammed his hand on the console. "Find him. Scan every meter of that planet." But Lura watched the screen quietly. She could feel it in her bones. He wasn't gone. She closed her eyes and whispered, "He escaped." The light moved him. She didn't know where, but the relic's energy signature had reappeared miles away near the mountain ridges deep inside alien territory. Reed woke up gasping. He was lying in the middle of a dark cave, the golden sphere floating above him like a small sun. His heart pounded. What happened? Outside, lightning flashed across the sky. He could see alien patrol ships searching the area, their lights sweeping over the mountains. The sphere dimmed, then brightened again, like it was scanning the path. Reed touched it gently. "You saved me again, huh?" It pulsed softly, almost like a reply, so warm and alive. Reed looked toward the stars. "All right," he said quietly. "If they want to hunt me, I'll make them remember what humans do when they're cornered." The wind howled through the cave. The light floated beside him, ready. The human who took off his armor to rest was no longer just a soldier. He had become something the universe had forgotten how to fear and how to love. Night settled across the mountains like a black sea. Wind howled through the sharp rocks, carrying the smell of smoke and rain. Inside the cave, Captain Reed sat beside a small fire. The golden sphere floated near him, shining softly, painting warm light across the stone walls. He had not slept. His hands still shook from what happened in the ruins. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw flashes. Alara's face, the alien soldiers falling back, the light protecting him like a living being. He whispered, "Why me? Out of all the people, why did you choose me?" The sphere gave no words, only a slow pulse. Bright, soft, bright again, as if it understood his doubt. Outside, thunder rolled. Far away, alien searchlights moved across the ridges. They were hunting him. On the alien mothership, General Vareth stood before a giant screen showing endless streams of data. "We finally have a full reading," a scientist said. "The relic's energy is identical to the core legends, the heart of Aelin." The general turned slowly. "The heart? That's a myth." Lura stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "It's not a myth. That light, that thing protecting the human, was once part of our own world. Before we began the wars." The others stared at her in disbelief. "Explain," Vareth demanded. Lura took a breath. "Long before our people conquered planets, there was harmony. The heart of Aelon kept balance between species. It reacted to emotions, the honesty, compassion, love. But when greed took over, the heart broke itself into pieces and scattered across galaxies. No one ever found them again, until now." She pointed at Reed's image on the screen. "And somehow it chose a human." Silence filled the bridge. The words sounded impossible, yet the data proved her right. Vareth's voice was low. "You mean to say that light responds to feelings? To weakness?" Lura shook her head. "Not weakness. Strength of the soul. Something our kind lost long ago." Down in the cave, Reed stared into the fire. The sphere pulsed faster now. He could feel emotions inside it. Not his, but others. Sadness, hope, memories. He touched it gently, and images filled his mind. He saw ancient alien cities glowing with silver towers. He saw hundreds of species walking side by side. No war, no fear. In the sky hung the same golden light that now floated beside him. Then came the fall. Armies, betrayal, greed, explosions that swallowed whole worlds. And the heartbreaking, its pieces scattering into the void. When the vision faded, Reed was shaking. He understood now. The relic was not human or alien. It was older than both, and somehow it had awakened through him, through the emotions that never died in his heart. He whispered, "Ilara, your love kept it alive." The sphere glowed brighter, wrapping him in warmth. High above, alarms screamed again. "Energy spike detected." Vareth leaned over the console. What is he doing now? The screen showed Reed stepping out of the cave, the light surrounding him like a second sun. The plants around him grew instantly, blooming where he walked. The ground repaired itself, Lura gasped. He's healing the world. That's what the heart does. It restores what war destroys. Vareth slammed his fist. Enough! If he changes the planet's atmosphere, we'll lose control of every colony here. Prepare orbital strike, now! General, please! Lura cried. If you destroy him, the heart dies with him. Vareth didn't answer. He stared at the human on the screen, small, fragile, glowing with impossible power. For a long moment, his expression softened. Then he turned away. Fire. The sky above Reed lit up. Dozens of plasma beams tore through the clouds, screaming toward the ground. The golden sphere flashed white. Reed lifted his head, eyes glowing gold. No, he said quietly. The beam stopped midair. Time itself seemed to hold its breath. The plasma froze like glass hanging above him. Reed raised one hand slowly, and the light spread outward in a wave. Every beam dissolved into harmless sparks. The sky cleared, the thunder vanished, and for a moment the whole planet shone like dawn. On the mothership, the crew watched in silent awe. Vareth whispered, He stopped our weapons. With will alone? Lura smiled faintly. Now do you see? The heart answers emotion, not force. The general's jaw tightened. Then we are doomed, because humans still have what we lost. Down below, Reed fell to his knees, exhausted. The sphere dimmed, floating weakly beside him. He looked up at the stars. You protected me again, he said softly. But I can't keep running forever. In the distance, he saw alien rescue pods falling. Not armed troops this time, but envoys. They were coming to speak. He closed his eyes, whispering, So, this is what you wanted, Alara. Not war. Understanding. The wind blew gently, carrying the light, soft hum across the mountains. The universe had witnessed something impossible, a single unarmored human awakening the memory of peace, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The rain stopped just before dawn. The mountains glowed faintly under the soft golden sky. Steam rose from the wet rocks, carrying the smell of new life. For the first time in many years, the planet was breathing again. Captain Reed stood on a cliff looking at the horizon. His armor lay behind him, cracked and silent, no longer needed. The golden sphere floated quietly beside him. Smaller now, weaker, but peaceful. It had done what it came to do. Below, alien ships descended slowly. No weapons, no war cries, just silence. They landed near the base of the mountain, and from them stepped dozens of alien envoys, their banners lowered in respect. Reed didn't move. He waited. He wasn't afraid anymore. The air around him was calm, almost sacred. From the lead ship, General Vareth emerged, his tall frame shining under the morning light. His soldiers stayed behind as he approached alone. His eyes were tired, not with hate but with something heavier. Regret. When he reached Reed, he stopped a few feet away. The golden light pulsed softly between them, like a heartbeat connecting two worlds. For a long time, neither spoke. Then Vareth said quietly, The heart has not answered anyone for 1,000 cycles. Not even our ancestors, and yet it answered you. Reed looked at the horizon instead of the general. It didn't answer me, he said softly. It answered what's inside me, what's inside all of us. The part that remembers love, not hate. Vareth's eyes flickered. Love is a weakness. Reed turned toward him, calm but steady. Then weakness built your world once. It ended your wars. You lost it when you chose power instead of peace. The alien general had no reply. The wind blew softly between them, carrying the scent of new flowers blooming in the cracks of the earth. Behind them, the sphere began to rise higher and higher. Its light spread over the valley, touching every soldier, every ship, every scar in the land. Wherever it touched, the ground healed. The sky cleared. Lura stepped out from one of the ships, her eyes full of wonder. She whispered, It's returning to the stars. The heart's light brightened until it looked like a second sun. And in that moment, Reed heard a voice, soft, familiar, and full of warmth. Reed. He froze. His heart stopped for a second. He knew that voice. Alara, he whispered. The light shimmered and shaped itself, then first into a silhouette, then into a woman's figure. Her face was gentle, her smile the same one he remembered. The aliens gasped. None of their science could explain what they were seeing. But Reed didn't care. He stepped forward, tears filling his eyes. Alara, he said again, her voice was soft as starlight. You carried me even when you didn't know it. The heart was not just power, it was memory. When I died, my soul touched it, and it waited, until it found someone strong enough to carry it again. He reached out, but his hand passed through her glowing form. Still, the warmth was real. It filled his chest, chasing away every shadow that war had left. You were never alone, she said. Every time you fought to protect, every time you refused to hate, I was there. Reed's tears fell silently. What happens now? Ilara smiled softly. Now the heart returns to where it belongs, but its echo stays inside you, inside them. Don't let it fade again. Her image began to dissolve into golden dust. The light spread wider, lifting into the sky like a million tiny stars. The alien soldiers fell to their knees, covering their eyes. Vareth looked up in awe. It's beautiful, he whispered. Reed watched until the last spark disappeared into the dawn. His chest felt lighter, peaceful, as if part of him had gone with her. Lura stepped beside him. You've changed everything, she said softly. Our people will never see humans the same way again. Reed smiled faintly. Good. Maybe they'll finally stop seeing us as enemies. She nodded. What will you do now? He looked toward the glowing horizon where the sun was rising. I think I'll rest, he said quietly. This time, without armor. The light of dawn fell over him, warm and golden. The land was alive again, grass growing, rivers flowing, skies clear. The war was over, and somewhere, far beyond the stars, the heart of Elon pulsed once more. Faint, eternal, carrying the memories of a human who had reminded the universe what it truly meant to feel.